Hello and welcome. How are you doing today? I'm just going to take a moment as folks tune in before we get started. Um, Hope you're doing well today. Excuse me. It's Monday, isn't it? Wow. Doesn't feel like it. This is definitely not the Mondayest Monday I've ever had. How's your Monday going? All right, I think we can go ahead and jump in. Got some fun stuff to show you today. So, we are in the process of building an online course that we're releasing this week about audience building. It's called Get Noticed, and we're very excited about sharing it. I say building, we're pretty much done. We're going to be putting it into loading it into Podia for the course viewing experience, and we're going to be sharing that. And if you're wanting to be in the loop about when that launches, you can check out the Podia creator community at podia.com/creator community. That's the best place to go. And bonus, that's also a place where other creators hang out. They share tips and share struggles, and it's a great place to go if you want other people to kind of walk with on your creator journey. So, uh, over the past few days, I've been sharing some of the things that I've been doing, some behind the scenes of the work that we put into building this online course, and specifically a lot of the stuff having to do with video, because that's definitely where most of my work comes into play is in putting together the video stuff. And so in a previous video, we talked about how to do character animations, and that was something that I don't do any kind of animation whatsoever, but I thought it would be so neat if we could have some little segments with character animations. And so I was able to find a way to do that. That video is available to watch through if you're interested in adding character animations to your videos. I also, uh, in the previous live stream, talked about how to add fancy captions to your videos using a program that I'm a big fan of called Descript. Descript lets you edit your video or audio like you're editing a text document. It's pretty groundbreaking. And it also has a caption feature that's really great, that you can customize with your own fonts and brand colors. And so in the previous video, I walked through how to do that and how we used that feature inside the course. And in today's video, I wanted to show you how, because throughout the entire course, we are using a lot of slides and text and some really basic illustrations and stuff like that we built inside of Canva. And if you're someone who makes videos either for your YouTube channel or you're wanting to make videos for an online course and you want to have text slides to, make your information a little bit easier to understand as you're sharing it, make your videos more engaging, Canva has some basic animation features that you can add to elements in your designs, including text. And so I wanted to show you how we use those inside the course. And I'm going to show you three things. First is, how to add the animations. It's pretty straightforward. The technique we used to include text, to make it overlay on the video. So rather than just a full screen text slide, I found a way to make it to where I could show up on screen and the text would animate and show up next to me. That's fun. And then also a little thing I did to kind of make the style of the animation look cool. In my opinion, I think it's cool. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and take us into Canva. Here we go. And this first slide that we're looking at is actually the very first slide that comes up when you watch the first lesson of the course. And so this is actually what you'd see. And I designed this just to have the title of the course, the name of the module uh, for the lesson that you're watching, and then also the lesson title itself. And I could just have that show up on the screen, let it, sit there for a few seconds before it goes away. But I thought, it'd be really neat if there was some motion, if it was animated. And so when you design something in Canva, each element kind of has its own. You can click on the various elements. It has its own options that show up. Here on the right, you can edit different things. You can set the position based on the alignment with the page or how it's stacked on top of other elements. And then over here on the left, there are things that you can do to edit the appearance of the image. You can crop it, you can flip it. And then here is an animation. And so I think every element has an animation. Let me see. Yeah, I think every element has an animation. I want to show you what it looks like before you add the animation. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the animation for this one. All right. So sorry, there's a gnat. Okay. So when you select an element that is not animated yet, you'll notice here it says animate, and you can click on that. And depending on the element, you get different animation options. But with text, you get quite a few different animations. And so as I hover over the different ones, it's actually going to animate the entire page to show you a preview of what your animation will look like. So if I select all of this, just to see which what a single animation would look like. So I'm going to click on lesson 1. I'm going to go to animate. So as I hover over, you can see it previews what the animation will look like based on which one I choose. And like I said, there are tons of different options, and they all kind of give off a different effect, a different feel, depending on what you're going for. And I'm not gonna take you through and tell you how each one of them works, but I do want to show you. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, okay. So for our course, for a lot of these animations, I used this ascend animation. And I think I used that, yeah. So I used it on this, and you can set the direction of the animation to go up or down. I think most of these I had going up, and then this one I had going down. So when I hover over to see the preview, I'm going to do that a couple of times so that you can kind of get a sense of what that looks like. There we go. So what's really fun about this is you can play around and add different animations to different elements within the scene, and you can get something that looks really interesting, really cool, pretty easily. I mean, all you're doing is you're just going through and adding animations. If you select multiple instances of text, you can add an animation to each of those all at the same time. So you can see it'll apply that animation to each of them that are selected. So it's just a really, really quick and easy way to animate your text. So then once you're finished, all I have to do is go up here to share and download. And I have this set to MP4. It's the full quality version. I think you have to have a pro or higher level account in order to be able to do the full 4K. In the past, when I didn't have the pro account on my own personal stuff, I did full HD, so like 1080, and I would export that, and then I would just double its size in my video editing program so it would take up the full screen. Uh, and obviously, like, you're missing a little bit of the quality, but for most people, it's not really that noticeable. And then under select pages, you'll click on this and deselect all pages and just select the current page. Now, I will show you just in a second. I want to show you a little bit more of a complicated animation just to show you what Canva is capable of, because it's really cool. But for this one, it's just this one page, and I click done and it'll set to download. I wanted to give you a preview of what this looks like. So I'm going to switch over to, this is the actual video, and I want to show you what it looks like as it plays out. So this is the very beginning of the first lesson. Now that's different. That's different from the Canva slide that we just saw. It's a different title because that was kind of an early title that we went with as a filler before we gave the course its official name, gave the course lessons and modules their official titles. But you could see the animation was the same, how it was animated in. So I'm going to move on real quick because I want to show you something a little bit more complex. So Canva is a design program. So you have not just text, but you have a lot of other elements you can bring in and design. And so for the first lesson, we're talking about where you find your audience and how one of the myths is when you start to build your audience, the first place you go is the internet. The first place you go is social media, and you're basically tasked with trying to grow an audience out of people who don't have any idea who you are, who maybe you're not connected with in any way. And so this lesson, this segment of the lesson, we're trying to explain that there are other places where you can find your audience, not just strangers on the internet, but there are all of these other levels. And so I wanted to find an interesting way to illustrate the concept. And as I went through and I was kind of looking through the script and the words that I was using, I kind of had this imagery in mind. And so I put together what ended up being 9 slides worth of information to kind of illustrate the point. And so I start with this one here, and you can see, like we talk about, these are the easiest folks to reach, but there are fewer people. These are the hardest folks to reach, the strangers on the internet, but there are tons of people. And then we break out this diagram into 6 different sections, and we talk about the different segments of the audience, and we define those, and we talk about how to reach people in each of those segments and kind of the different techniques that you'll use. So it's really cool. But I did the same thing. I selected each element and I gave each element its own animation. And so I can actually, in Canva, you can preview your animation. I'm going to go ahead and click play, and it's going to take us through the first slide, but then it's going to move on to the following slides. And you can see as it goes through how each of the additional slides are animated. And I was able to export this video just like this and incorporate it into the lesson seamlessly. It's really great. So one of the things that I did, I'm gonna take this a little bit out of order, but if I go back to this first lesson, I can show you where I bring that in. Give you a little bit of a preview. No context. Okay, so here's the animation, and I don't know like if streaming, if the the frame rate is going to translate. Hopefully we'll see, but I'll explain what I'm trying to show you in just a second. So you may be able to notice that the animation is not quite as smooth. It looks a little bit choppier, and that was intentional. I'm taking what Canva gives me, which is I think 30 frames per second, and I'm converting it to 12 frames per second. And the reason I'm doing 12 frames per second is because I really like the look of that animation. It's kind of a stylistic choice, and it gives to me it gives the animation sort of a different feel from the other stuff that's happening. Like if I have the animation playing on screen while I'm talking, my video is 30 frames per second, but the animation is happening at a different frame rate. And I feel like it kind of gives it a more engaging, kind of cool, interesting look. So that's something that I actually do. That's a good place to stop the video. So that's something that I actually do in my video editing software. I use Premiere Pro, and the way that I do that is the sequence that I'm editing in is set to 30 frames per second. But I take any animations that I bring in and I turn those into their own sequences that are nested inside of the main sequence, and you can give those their own properties. And so I set the property for the frame rate just for those elements at 12 frames per second. And if I'm talking over your head, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to video stuff, but that was the way I did it in case you're a person who uses Premiere Pro and gets what I'm talking about. All right, so the last thing I want to show you just real quick is how I'm going to go back actually to the video, and I want to see if I can find a good example of how I use. Okay, here we go. So I do have sections where I have text showing up on the screen and animating. And in Canva, again, I found the perfect place to stop the video. In Canva, it's not possible yet to export a video with a transparent background. You can export an image with a transparent background, but you can't do that with video. So the workaround that I found for this was to create the slide with this green background. And so I can animate each of the individual elements. But then I've got this green background that basically works like a green screen. So when I bring it into my video editing software, I can use key. It's called Ultra Key in Premiere Pro, but that's usually, it's some kind of like color key or green screen effect or something like that. I can apply it to this element and knock out that specific color, and it leaves me with just the text on the screen as it appears here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I took you through everything I said I would. So it's been a lot of fun working on this project, and these are a lot of the techniques that I use for the lesson videos are things that I've done with past videos that I've been doing for a long time. And there are things that I started doing because I was trying to do something a little bit new and interesting with these course videos. And so it's been fun kind of problem solving and trying to find those new techniques, and then being able to incorporate them and make them a part of future videos as well. So I hope if you're a person who makes a video, whether again for YouTube or for online courses, I hope this has been encouraging and inspiring for you, maybe give you gave you some ideas for your videos. So again, if you are interested in checking out the online course, we're going to be launching that this week on Wednesday. The best place for you to go right now is to podia.com/creator-community, and you'll be one of the first folks to know when this course goes live. Also, as a part of the course launch, and something that we do with Podia is called the Podia Creator Fellowship. And so it's connected to other prizes that we're giving away and that kind of thing. And so that's definitely something you'll want to check out as well. So again, go to podia.com/creator-community. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.